Today's section, we are going to look at geometric progression. Under it, we'll be looking at the first term, the common ratio, and the sum of terms. Okay, what is progression? Progression means list of numbers like, so let's take some list of numbers like 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and so on. That is progression. Now, let's assume we have a number 2. If we want to get a preceding number, you need a constant to multiply to this 2. That will give you the next term. So let's take the constant to be also 2 and multiply against the first term, which is 2, to be 4. Then continue to multiply by 2 to get 8. Multiply the constant we are using, that is 2, by the 8 to get 16. All right, and so on. You can proceed. So this is what we called the geometric progression. All right, so you can see there is a constant multiplying the term that will be giving you the preceding terms. We are going to look at the first term of the progression. So the first term is taken as a, and let's look at the common ratio, which is also taken as r. So wherever you see r is common ratio, a is the first term. Let's look at the first example. Write down the first 5 terms of the geometric progression, which has the first term to be 1 and the common ratio to be 1 over 2. So we begin with the solution. So as we have the first term to be 1, we are going to proceed the next term by multiplying the ratio to the first term, which is also going to be 1 multiplied by 1 over 2. And still we are going to get 1 over 2. So our next term is 1 over 2. Then we also continue to multiply the preceding term by 1 over 2 again. That will give you 1 over 4. Continue to multiply 1 over 4 by the constant again, which will be 1 over 8. Alright, then continue to multiply by 1 over 6, 1 over 2 again. That will be 1 over 16. Alright, so these are the 5 terms the question is asking us to find. Good. So let's look at the second example. Find the 10th and the 20th term of the GP with first term to be 3 and a common ratio of 2. Alright, so in this case, we are going to start with our solution. Alright, so just pay attention to what the question is giving us, and we write our first term that is given as 3 in the question, and the common ratio is 2. Alright, so we need the 10th term. We need the 10th term. So 10th term and the 20th term according to the question. So let's first find the 10th term by using the formula. So let's use the Tn representing the formula, that is AR exponent n minus 1. Then so Tn is standing for U of n, so it's the same thing. Okay, so the number of the term is the nth, that is the 10th term. So we are going to find the nth term, which is the 10th term given in the question. Alright, so over here the 10th term will be written in place of the n that is given in the formula. So the T of n is giving us AR exponent n minus 1, solving with the first problem. So our A is 3 multiplied by our R is 2. Remember, the exponent n is only affecting the R. A is not part, so 10 minus 1. That is the n equal to 10 in this question. So you further simplify to get your answer. So 3 times 2 exponent 9. When you subtract, so you are going to further simplify and say that you are going to get t of 10 is equal to 3 times the 2 exponent 9 from the calculator is going to give us 512. So t of 10 is equal to the finally I'm going to get 1536, and that is the final answer to the 10th term. Let's solve for the 20th term. So 20th term is also going to be, the n is going to be 20 as usual. So t of n is equal to ar exponent n minus 1. We know your a, right? So t of 20 is equal to 3 times 2 exponent 20 minus 1. So you simplify further, 3 times 20 exponent 3 times 2 exponent 19. Then you further simplify to get your final answer. All right. So use a calculator to conclude the later parts of what we are doing on the screen. So finally, t of 20 is equals to 1572864, and that is the 20th term of this geometric sequence. Let's have a look at the second example. The next example rather, we have the find the 7th term of the GP, that is a sequence given to you over there. All right, so you need to know, so let's start with solution. You need to know your first term, your common difference. So the common ratio can be taken from any of the sets of the terms. So our first term is a, which is 2. Then so our common ratio from here is going to be, so let's take from any of the term, that is n plus 1 equal to nth term, and that means, so let's take we are taking the position that is the second over the first, or you can also say that the third over the second in terms. So you just take the numbers and just find the ratio of them, and the ratio is going to be the same. All right, so we have the common ratio taken from this side, which is 18 over the negative 6, and the common ratio is going to be negative 3. All right, so that's what we are going to use to substitute into our formula. So we are finding the the term, that is the t term, and the t term given in the question is the 7. So use a formula that is the t of n equal to ar exponent n minus 1, and t of 7 now equal to a is 2, so 2 times negative, put a negative 3 into brackets, exponent 7 minus 1. So if further simplify the right hand side, that will give you 2 times, then this will give you exponent 6. So by using a calculator, you continue punching your figures to have the exact answer. T of 7 equal to 2 times, then it will be positive, so we have even exponent, so positive 7 to 9, then finally multiplied by 2, we are going to get the answer supposed to be 1458. That's the 7th term of the geometric sequence you have on the screen. Let's have a look at the next question. So this is the last example we are looking at. we are looking at the sum of the geometric series. So where there are 6 times in the series. All right, so series means you need to add all the times in our pattern. So let's begin. We use the notation S of n, and the formula goes like this: a into bracket r exponent n minus 1 all over r minus 1. This is the formula. You can redefine the formula and also write it as a exponent 1 minus r exponent n all over 1 minus r. Any one of your choice is applicable to be used. So you can use any one of these as the sum of the number of times in our geometric series. So our given information here is a is giving us 2. We need to find your r common ratio, which you need to find the ratio of some of the times we are taking the fourth term over the third term, which is 54 over 18. So when you use a calculator, it's going to give you the ratio of 3. So we are going to get 3 as the results. All right, so our number of term is 6. So we need to find the sum of this. So using the formula, so sum of 6 is what we are looking for. So use the formula first, apply the formula, then we substitute our numbers in place of the formula and get our exact value. So follow what we have on the screen. So we have your a, you have your r, you have your n. Substitute accordingly in the formula and deduce your expression to the lowest term. So you follow up with the methods that you see on the screen. Simplify, and what we have in the bracket will give you our final answer afterwards. So our final answer is 728. So this is the procedures that you are going to use to find the sum of series in the geometric progression. All right, so make sure you use this strategy to solve lots of questions under what you have studied. Thank you very much for watching. Bye.